And we're live. It's Whiskey Watches the Wheels. I am Matt, and along with 3 of the 4 horsemen, we're going to have a wonderful episode tonight. Guys, introduce yourselves. Fuck it.
I'm James.
Kevin's got no
Kevin.
play. All right, there you go.
Kevin, sorry.
Listen, it's, Casey takes the night off, and all the shit just goes crazy. And it's been a crazy week for me already, even though it's only Wednesday. Got to tell you guys a funny story. I know Kevin loves my stories.
I think we all do.
I know. Well, part of my job, we get a car, not a car allowance, but we're actually get a kind of a company vehicle. We pay for it, but it's a lease through the company. So long story short, time to trade in my 2022 Ram, and they'd ordered me a 2025 Dodge Durango. Had to go pick it up. So go pick it up the other morning, 9:00 in the morning, and literally when you walk into a Dodge dealership in the showroom, it is literally a combination of Walmart, a Miami flea market, and the DMV. You get the creme de la creme of people in society in a Dodge dealership that time of morning. So the one that I walk in, they're blaring reggaeton like it's 9:00 at night in Miami, and I see, God bless her, this woman. Not stereotyping. It's a Dodge dealership. I'm going to just call her Shalonda. Okay. Shalonda's there with her baby's daddy. They got like 4 little kids stair stepped, and they are getting in the loudest argument over the color of the Charger they're going to get, because she is not leaving without plum crazy purple. And if I had to hear her say plum crazy purple one more time, she would. I mean, I thought they were going to get like in a fist fight. It was bananas.
What was the other color?
I don't know what he wanted. The poor guy couldn't get a word in edgewise. She was getting plum crazy purple. That's pretty much what the extent of it was. But I'm thinking to myself, guys, it's 9:00 in the morning on a Tuesday. Can we do we have to be going through this now? But it was great. But I got my Durango, and it's a Durango. I mean, it's nice on the inside. But
thanks for getting rid of that big ass pickup truck.
Yes. Yeah, it is. So the Durango is literally, the Durango is a big vehicle, yet it is 12 inches narrower and I think about 1.5 feet shorter than the Ram. So
I don't doubt that.
You can definitely feel it on the highway, and it's really nice on the side. It's actually nicer inside than the Ram was. So it's not a bad vehicle. I wouldn't buy one as my own personal just because their electronics are shit. They break after about 2 or 3 years, but it's at least, what do I care?
What color is it?
So they didn't really have any great colors. It was literally white, black, 2 different grays.
Of course. A silver. And then they had a red
dark
or a
blue, and then a purple. And they had purple. And then they had burgundy. And so I got burgundy because it's the same color as my truck, and I like it. So I almost got black, purple. But I'm like,
Yeah, I would have grabbed the purple.
So all kidding aside, if I'm tooling around in like a personal 911, I would drive purple all day long. I actually really like purple. We've talked about this. I like that color. But for a vehicle that you're going to pull up to customers and things of that nature, I didn't think purple was the right call. So
fair enough.
I just went burgundy.
Hey, so, it would have broken the ice really quickly there.
It would have. It would have if I pulled up in a plum crazy purple yes. Durango. So, but other than that, that was my story from the Dodge dealership. It's everything you think a Dodge dealership would be.
Isn't there more to this story? Didn't you fix you fixed their printer?
Oh shit! I forgot about that. See, that's the kind of week I've had. Thank you for reminding me. No, so that I was thinking of Shalonda, but no. So I'm sitting there. The guy's trying to do my paperwork. Granted, this is a fleet vehicle, so it's not like a lot of paperwork to do. It's not like you're signing your life away. But he goes, I need a copy of your driver's license. Okay. So he goes over to the copier, and he's like, and he just keeps pushing the button. I can see the screen was black. He's pushing the button. He goes, huh. And he's pushing the button. So after like literally, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes, trying to figure it out, and he's opening the thing, and I said, hold on a minute. I reach over and I plug it in because it was unplugged. So literally it was unplugged. So I plug it in for him, and he goes, oh man, thanks. I said, listen, I'm the GM at where I work, but I tend to be the tech guy because nobody knows how to fix anything. So I plug it in. And so he's trying to make a copy, and then it won't copy because it shows paper jam. So I'm like, okay, well, that's smart. Whoever jammed it couldn't fix it, so they just unplug it. That's going to fix paper jam. So then he couldn't figure it out. So I said, hold on a minute. So I get in there, I fix the paper jam. I get toner all over my hands and everything, but I fix the paper jam. I close it up. And then he finally starts making the copies and everything. I'm like, anything else you need me to do while I'm here? I can fix anything you want, so. That's
nice.
So, and this guy had been with him for like 22 years. I'm thinking 22 years and you can't fix a paper jam,
or plug in a printer,
plug in a copier. Yeah. Printer. So that was
nice.
it. So tonight let's do a wristwatch check. You guys wearing anything cool?
Always.
What you got? You weren't here last week. You go first.
Oh, okay. I am wearing my Seiko Turtle here.
Ooh.
So gold, black, and silver. So SRP 775, automatic diver. I grabbed this in 2016, so it's been around a while. I like it because it goes with everything. And then I have a kind of a seat belt NATO on there. So super thick, really comfortable. And I think it just, I think we talked about this a while back, but I'm in the wear it for 2 months and then rotate as opposed to rotate every day. So I've been wearing this thing for the last 3 weeks. And then the Russian Big Zero I wore for well over a month before that. So I'm just enjoying not having to think about grabbing a different watch each day. It's one of those, it's just there. It's already running. I'm grabbing it. I got so much other shit to worry about at the moment. So
I do the same thing.
Path of least resistance, right?
Yeah. Well, I keep all my watches in my closet. And in the morning, I'm usually the first one up, crack of dawn. Great, Stacy's still sleeping. So I take all my stuff to the bathroom and grab a shower and get dressed in there. And so typically what I end up putting on is whatever I had on the day before that got ended up leaving next to the sink. And I just put it back on and end up wearing it for like 2 weeks straight.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what these are going for today, but in 2016, I paid $365. And that's probably the cheapest watch we'll be talking about tonight.
Oh, no, we got a cheaper one. Kev, what are you wearing, buddy?
I have let's see if this thing zooms in here. Let's see here. There you go. Breitling Endurance.
Oh, nice.
It's carbon fiber with the same seatbelt band too, pretty thick. It's my first NATO band. It's super comfortable, probably stinks, but I like this watch. It's pretty neat. It's like a carbon case.
Sharp.
I think
is that a blue NATO?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, nice. Yep.
I don't think I've ever seen you wear that watch before. Have you ever worn it before on the show?
Maybe not on a show. I don't think so. Yeah. It's got a black and blue dial chrono. It's a pretty cool watch. It's very light, and I don't know. I just put it on today because I was working on. It's funny that this is the watch that I put on because I was still wearing like a piece of crap swatch or something. I was gonna be working on a interior, taking all this foam off of a 993. This is the watch that I picked.
Right? Yes. With a blue watch and a blue hat. So
you got to coordinate.
Yeah. Wednesday blues.
But I have a white shirt on, so I wasn't working too hard.
Not quite a wife beater, but
I'm going to say that's at least a $200 watch.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes, at least.
Yes.
And we talked about it last week briefly, and anyone that watches our Instagram might know, but tonight I'm wearing a watch that I built myself. So it's no branded. It is an automatic. I bought all the parts on AliExpress. So they were a grand total of about $140. And I put everything together. And for the audience watching, let me share this real quick because it's got a close up where you see a little better. So I went through and I found this mint kind of sculpted dial I thought was really pretty, paired with the orange hands. And so I went, I thought it was pretty. I like it. I have no problem with the word pretty. It is a mint green. I've always wanted a mint green watch. I've never really been able to find one that I liked. So I decided to build one. I started off, it basically has a Rolex Submariner type case. It's more sub style case than it is, Seiko, with it. But then I have a regular NH35 Seiko movement in there from the back as an exhibition case back on it.
Nice.
And I thought about putting on a custom rotor, but I couldn't find a rotor that matched the face. And I've decided just to leave it steel instead of try to match it and not be a close match.
Match it as far as color or pattern?
Color, just color. Yeah, so they do have different various colors of rotors, and it's fairly easy to put one on. And I thought about maybe just getting a sculpted steel one, and I still may, or aluminum one. I still may do that down the road. But who knows? Maybe if I have to crack it back open because another thing. So the hardest part of this entire build was the hands. And we kind of alluded to that last week, even before I even did it, that's really the most tedious part is putting on the hands. And so I put the hands on and just learning how to apply the proper pressure. Plus with the hands, you buy these little tools and they basically look like a straw with a little hole in it. And depending on which hand you're putting on, you have to use the appropriate size straw to seat it properly, so that way you evenly distribute the pressure. And if you get it wrong, which is what happened on the second hand, I had too large of one, and so it ended up kind of bending the parts. Able to get them bent back down, and nobody would have noticed, but I kept noticing it a little bit. And so I took it back apart and tried to fix it, and broke the second hand. So I've ordered another second hand. So that's why right now it works fine, but there's no second hand on it. It's just got the two hands.
Got it.
So when I crack it back open to put the second hand back on, maybe I'll order a custom rotor and put it on there. The second hand should be in a couple weeks.
Well, step back a little bit here. And
yeah,
how long did it take you to pick out your parts? How long did it take you to settle on it? And then what tools did you have to grab to do this?
It took quite a while to figure out exactly what, it's you're shopping. I mean, you go on, it doesn't matter where you go. You can go on the US based sites, or you can go on eBay, or you can go on Amazon, or you can go on AliExpress. You type in 18.5 watch dial and you literally get thousands of options. Same thing with if you type in watch case for NH35, you get so many different options. So trying to figure out what case you want to go with, and then what dial, and the coordinating hands, because they have hands for every single color, and it's not just that. So then you have to think about it, and I almost got it wrong. You want to try to match the loom, because there's different colors of the loom, and some of the sites show it, some of them don't show it. So it's kind of crazy. So you just got to go through and start. You just got to go through and just try to figure out what you want. So I started with a dial. The dial is what I wanted, and then I worked everything around that.
So you said that you were going for the mint green from the beginning.
Yeah.
All right. Nothing swayed you. You.
Nope. Nothing swayed. That's
okay.
what I was going
for.
What
made you pick the orange hands?
So full transparency, I fucked up.
Okay.
Being honest, I fucked up.
Because I'm like, okay. I love the watch. I don't love the hands.
Oh, really? So
I love it.
Yeah. So
contrast is great.
When the hands came when the hands came in, I thought I had ordered red. I'm fairly confident that I had ordered like bright red, and because I didn't want to go with black. What's that?
That's Chinese red.
Well, yes, whatever.
Yeah,
Chinese red, AliExpress red.
But
I didn't. I didn't, because I went back to look at my order and it was clearly orange. So you do this shit from your phone, and when you go to one of these manufacturers for like hands, they literally have like 1,000 different little. And with AliExpress, which I'd never shopped on before, you start scrolling through and it's in the same group. So if you don't click the right one, that's what ends up in your cart. And so obviously the one next to the red was the orange, and that's what I ended up getting. And I don't hate it. I like it. It's fine.
No. So. And actually your choices were based on science. If you look at the color wheel, the opposite side of that aqua green
of blue,
mint, right, would be in the oranges and the yellows. So okay. You're good.
I don't get that deep into it, but I'll take your word for it. So, but I was happy with the coloration. And while I was in there the other night shopping for a new, because I just went ahead and ordered the exact same handset. You can't buy just second hand. You have to buy the whole thing, which is all of $2.98. I went ahead and bought all the parts for another watch.
Okay.
So when those roll in 2 weeks, I'll do a second one. And this time around, I am going to attempt to film it and put something up on YouTube. I didn't this time around because I was trying to really learn what the fuck I was doing.
Do you have a GoPro?
I do have a GoPro. Yeah.
Yeah.
Although,
put it on.
yeah, and I have a stand for my phone. I may even just use the stand with my phone and just kind of do it like this way above. So we'll see.
Nice. So what other tools? So did you have to use the goggle magnifier?
I did.
Thing?
I got the goggle magnifier thing, which has the little LED in it, which lights everything up, so you can actually see what you're doing.
Can we see your face now instead of looking at the watch for the YouTubers?
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot I was up there. Thank you.
So what? And then what? You had these little finger condoms.
Yeah.
Right?
So basically, you started off with you have a movement. You have to buy a movement. Right. You need a movement holder. You didn't have
to buy the finger condoms. You just reached over into the nightstand and grabbed those.
Yeah. Obviously, you listened last week then. Yeah. Okay. So I went through it. You had to get the holder for the movement. And then there's a little round, almost a little pillion that's a squishy thing for the movement. So that way when setting the hands, it doesn't put a lot of pressure on the rotor.
The pillow, like that little pillow.
Yeah, little pillow thing. Okay. Yep. And then I already had a lot of the tools as far as cracking the case back open and all that. I already had that.
Right.
How about cutting the crown stem?
So I just used a regular pair of pliers. Like wire strippers. That I used that. I tell you one thing that I didn't have that really would have helped out was a caliper. To do the measurement, because with the stem you put your crown on there loosely and then you stick it in there, and of course then it's sticking way out of the case, and so you're trying to eyeball how much once you pull back out to cut off, and a caliper would just completely negate that. You could just measure it and then know exactly where to cut.
When you did you have to put the stem in and then take it out? Because that's the one part. Is it hard to take the stem out?
So once on the back of the movement, when you move the rotor around, you'll see when you pull the stem out and in, you can see almost a little actuator that opens up. And so once you push it in, it kind of sticks out. And at that point, you know where to press down. It's really easy to do. Once you press it, it almost like takes a lock off and then it just pulls right out. But learning where to press was kind of like finicky, because if you put too much pressure or you get it wrong, you can damage the movement. So learning that up front was, and I just used a pin pusher for like removing pins out of the watch bands, and it works fine.
The crown you got, right? The stem is much longer based on it can fit a whole bunch of different watches.
Right. It's just a universal stem.
Okay.
Yep. And then you have to trim it down to the appropriate size. Right. And it's actually much easier when you're trimming it down for a standard, like a dress watch, but on like a GMT or a sub case that the crown screws down, you have to get it short enough that it doesn't, you can get it to the end of the threads, but then you have to be able to still push it in and thread it in. So it's a lot of just micro adjustments and, but it worked.
Well, for your first watch, I think that's pretty successful, no?
It was successful. It literally only took me like 2 hours, and I must have removed the crown.
2 hours total?
Total.
Really?
2 hours total. Yeah. Yeah. I was in and out in about a couple hours.
Right. Cool. So 7 a week? Excellent.
Well, not 7 a week, but again, it's kind of addictive, because not that $100 is cheap, but all the parts for my next build was like $98 because I didn't have to buy any of the tools. I already have them now. So that was an extra $30 I didn't have to spend. So it was fairly inexpensive.
2 hours just to decompress and be focused on a single thing without the phone going off or checking Instagram or
man. I
emails.
put the thing on, the goggles on, and had some music chilling and just taking my time. And it was a very relaxing Sunday.
Awesome. Well, congrats. I think it looks fantastic. And
thank you.
Looking forward to the next one.
The next one's going to be a little different. I was stumbled across a really cool dial that I thought was funky looking. And I found that case. You guys know the cases, but I'm going to tell them in the podcast. But I found that case and I thought it would be a cool pairing. And it's either going to be, ugly as shit or it's going to be cool, you know, for $100, whatever.
Use the color wheel, Matt.
Here's the advantage of this. All right. So they're not junk. And if I like it, great. If I don't like it when I'm done, I'll throw it up on eBay and I guarantee you it'll sell.
Yeah. Well,
but you can always just change the face.
Sure you can. Yeah. Change
so
new dial. I mean, it's literally the dial is $6. It's
so at Matt's house on Christmas, everyone's going to be pulling out of the stocking. Oh, look, a watch.
If anybody in my house wore
Stacey,
watches, I would.
Get? Oh, look, a watch.
It's like when do you guys remember the I don't know, there's little things that they had little crystals and you put them in and then they were like stained glass. You made your own little stained glass.
Yeah.
And as a kid, you were like, hey, look,
dream catcher
giving them to all your friends.
In the what were those little shrinky dinks or something like that?
Yeah.
Something.
You throw them in the oven and they shrink and flatten out. Yeah.
100%.
I think I just dated myself, by the way.
No, not at all. We all did it. So, and then I didn't use them on this because I got impatient. Because I took just the triple W of our whiskey watches and wheels, and I had little itty bitty teeny tiny logos made for the watch, so it would have a brand on it of some sort. And I decided not to use it because I didn't have them yet, and I don't regret my decision. But I was pleasantly surprised when they came in. There's actually a fair amount of detail being how small they are.
So where did you order those?
I found a website, a company called Four Hands something or other. I mean, dude, I've done so much research on this whole thing. So it was called Four Customize, and I'm sure it's some sort of Chinese site. You upload a logo, and they make custom watch logos.
And you were happy
metal
with it
or plastic?
So they're supposed to be metal.
Or is it like a model?
No, I think it's almost like it's not vinyl, sticker. But it's like almost like a plastic. But it's very, very, very thin, very pliable, double-sided. So you can see almost like a sticker. It would stick right down.
So it's most likely, well, I would assume it's laser cut.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got to be laser cut. But I mean, they're tiny. And our crown, our triple W, Kevin's team designed it, very intricate. And so they did a pretty decent job.
Right. That's cool.
Don't know if I ever use it or not. It was like $20 for 20 of them. It's like $1 a piece. But if I decide to use it, I have them.
Well, speaking of little logos, did you see the Supreme Rolex? The Supreme brand?
Oh, yeah.
So
yes.
Yeah, they have their own. And on the Rolex face, it says, fuck them.
Does it really?
It does.
I didn't see it. No.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
one of their slogans.
I'm surprised Rolex rolled with that.
Well, maybe it wasn't up to Rolex. Maybe those were already done.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
I don't know.
Or I've come to learn as I get older, if you're willing to write a big enough check, pretty much anybody will cash it.
In the world.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, nice.
So while we're talking about watches, this snuck up on me. Watches and Wonders 2025 rolled around. Didn't even know it was going on. Lots of things were unveiled. Some things cool, some things not cool, some things just new.
Really? Okay, you want to start with the not cool then?
Yeah. Let's start with not cool.
All right, go for it.
Well, I didn't bring anything not cool. No, I'm teasing. So not that. So let's put it this way. All right, let's just start because you segued. You said Rolex.
Yeah.
Rolex launched a new model, which is okay. I will say, Rolex doesn't launch new models every year, hardly ever. So it is interesting that they've launched a new model, and I don't dislike it. It's definitely a dress watch. They're calling it the Land Dweller instead of the Sea Dweller. So
that looks like a Tissot.
Well, exactly. And there's a meme out there right now that's showing the Tissot versus the Rolex. The guy goes to the eye doctor and he goes, A or B? A or B? And it's showing both of them. It's an interesting looking watch. It's got some cool elements to it. Integrated band, which is kind of cool. I do find it awesome that with the technology and everything, they're able to make it so thin and still get 66 hours of reserve out of it. I'm one for dials. I like the dial on it. Case back
What's the price point?
That's a great question.
because that looks like a white gold bezel, fluted. I think.
Yep. So you guys talk
That's
amongst
a
yourselves.
big.
Well, for me,
It's gonna be a big check, is what it's gonna be.
for me,
Oh,
it
it's expensive?
reminds. Oh, I'm
You
sure
don't
it
think?
is.
Oh yeah, of course it is. This is gonna be every bit of 10 G's.
No.
Yes, I'm telling you.
This-
that okay.
So
Dude,
this,
if they're charging $1,500 for the watch we're going to talk about next, then this has got to be 10 G's.
Yeah,
Like,
but 10
sorry,
G's
James, I
is
didn't mean to cut James
10
off.
10 G's is a sub. So unless it's got precious metals, like that band's white gold, but say for instance, if it was a stainless steel, that would be no different than
the price is $13,900.
13,000.
$13,900 for the 36 millimeter in steel and white gold. $14,900 for the 40 millimeter steel and white gold. So let's just say $15K.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or the white gold is let's see, $88,300 with the diamonds.
Yep. And the Land Dweller reference 127334 has a retail price of $16,100 in steel.
Yeah. Nice. Okay.
You
Next
say
watch.
the Tissot, but you say the Tissot, it reminds me of a Seiko 7A28-7039.
Yes.
As far as the thinness, the flat face, the integrated band.
But we know that Seiko, and I hate to say this, and a lot of people who maybe they're big watch people, but a lot of people copy Seiko's old stuff and some of the new stuff. And I do know that people say, oh, Seiko copies, like for instance, the SK.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Seiko had their dive watch series before Rolex.
I believe so as well.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not going to comment. I'm not sure, but I'll take your word for it.
You know, hey, we make up our own history here.
This is true.
So, but you know, that Seiko's a quartz, and I look at this and go, "Is that a quartz?"
Yeah. My daughter has that watch, the Tissot one, the mint green, or it's like I think hers is a green color.
Yeah.
So
looking at these real quick, I think they're quite feminine. I don't see them as.
I would agree.
Yeah, no, I agree as well. I mean, it is a legitimately pretty watch.
But there's that pretty again.
It is a pretty watch.
I know with my daughter, she liked it because I mean, naturally, she looked at it and she was like, "Oh, it's feminine," and she bought the men's watch. Which I don't know what this Tissot case size is, but it's pretty big. I know I had to take out all the links for her wrist. So what else do they have before we? Because we're at almost I think is it half an hour here.
Yeah.
Any other watches here?
No, this is the only thing they launched as far as new.
So let's talk about the piece of shit tag.
Let's do that now. We can do that.
I like
you and I were having a conversation, and I do like it too, James.
I like it.
I like the watch. I think it's cool, but when one of the companies was referencing the Kith collab, they were talking about how that watch now is fetching $1,500 on the secondary market and how it's great and blah blah blah. And then you look at this watch and they're asking, what was it, 17 or 1900?
No, 1500.
1500.
Okay, 15. Yeah. So the other one's 1400.
So the question is, since you are the owner of one of these vintage ones, would you still go down the path of getting multiple vintage to add up to the 1500 as opposed to dropping 1500 for a brand new one?
Yeah, because when Matt showed me this, I went back yesterday and started looking at other ones, and a lot of the guys, they're still going for $300-400. Now, I will say that when you do look at these watches, and in case anybody is looking to get a Formula One, I think that's what they're called, a Formula watch, you just got to make sure that you're buying the men's, because they did make a women's series, and I don't know too much of the sizes of them. I just have the rubber bands. I'm also wondering too, because hey, it's a stainless steel, and it's a solar, where the ones that I have are quartz. For all intents and purposes, when you were showing me this watch, though, I was looking at other tags, chronograph tags that have the same look and feel that are going for $600, $700, $800, and they're chronograph, nicer watches, and they're half the price of the money. And like, for instance, that blue one, it looks just like that blue one, but it's a chronograph and it's a quartz, and it's half the price.
Yeah, and these are solar.
Right. These are solar, and so I like the tag Formula One, the regular Formula One, not these retro versions. And they're chrono, and you're right, they're cheaper and they're a good look. They are quartz, although you can get, do have a few of them that are automatic, but the price jumps up almost to $2,000 to get the automatic version. But to me, this watch last year that was just regular quartz, and then now having it solar. There's nothing wrong with solar. I have Citizen watches that are solar. I have my Seiko Speed Timer solar. I have nothing with that. I just don't know that solar has a fit into tag.
Yeah,
maybe it does. I mean, when you typically think of a luxury brand, you don't think solar. Maybe you should. I don't, but I don't.
And I do agree with you as far as the solar is considered. I mean, for that price point, there's a lot of different watches out there that you could get that are automatic, that are great watches. I think they're either trying to pay for that sponsorship for Formula One. But remember when this first came out, there was the buzz was that this was supposed to be competition with the Swatch Omega. Maybe that's what we were talking about.
Hey, right. I think these are better watches than that.
Yes, but
but the price point's completely different. They don't compete at this point. You have to go get a vintage one, which I think the three choices, right? Get the Omega plastic watch, get the new $1,500 watch, or go get a OG, right, for $400 on eBay.
So that also brings back, just like we talk today, we have a throwaway society, right? So is the watch the same thing as like buying a plasma TV back in the day that was good quality? Now you can buy a good quality watch that's maybe 20, 30 years old that's still ticking, or you can buy this. And
well, I mean, for all intents and
purposes, yes, I do. For all intents and purposes, this is a lot of plastic, and except for like the one that has the metal band. I just don't see. I think this price point would be good, sub 1,000, and they would fly off the shelf.
So look at this. This is a legit tag Formula One. This is the
That's
real
the one
Formula
I was looking at. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, $300. I mean, this was a $1,800 brand new. It's used, whatever. Or it's for whatever reason it's $300. But it's a good looking watch. Not that retro styling is funky, but it's just not for me.
Yeah. And here's the thing too: is I have a solar Seiko. Not to bring up Seiko again, but it looks just as hot as these, and cost me $200, brand new, right? Not that I'm a huge fan of the solar. I don't like them sitting in a drawer. I'd rather grab, set it, and go. So
I will tell you this though: I have a solar. My first watch, my wife, and we were dating. It was a Citizen titanium, and she bought it for me. It's a chronograph. Solar. It was when I think Citizen maybe just came out with an Echo Drive. So this would have been like circa 1996 probably. And I want to say the watch was maybe like $300-$400 back then. And that was a lot of money. I had that watch in a drawer for probably 10 years. And I put that son of a bitch in Florida sun, and it was doing a tick, 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 tick. And then tick, 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 like 2 ticks. Man, it started working again. It keeps time. And it
kicked in.
It does have that. Remember the tag that everybody had to have back in the 90s, that band? So it was kind of like the chain link band, the tag.
Oh, yes. Yep.
Yeah. So that band, man, you scare the crap out of me, Ron. My design guy just walked in. Nobody walks in when I'm doing podcasts. Man, my heart just. So it had that same band, but it was like a titanium. It just now when I wear it, it is probably like a 34. It's a small band. It's just I can't find myself to wear it, but it is sentimental to me.
Yeah,
of course. But hey, I guess what we're saying here is that there's a lot of other competition for this watch.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot out there. I mean, for that,
I think within
kind of
tag, there's a lot of competition for that watch. And James, what do you think people will buy this watch, or Matt, because it's the latest and greatest? Because remember, Kith was really good, and now that was all the buzz, but you don't see them too much anymore. And
Well,
I've
let's see.
seen one person.
I think people will still buy it.
Yeah, I think
they
so.
will.
I think
they
that
will.
you have the F1 sponsorship now,
Yeah.
right? So they're back in F1. They're going to be pushing this. The actual F1 timing clock is this watch, right?
Oh, okay.
So you're going to see that. I would suspect that $400 OG on eBay is going to be $600 and $800 soon enough. It's just the way it always goes, especially when you reference something older, as far as, so a beloved, affordable 80s sports watch is back with the perfect modern upgrade. That's what Gear Patrol was saying.
But here's the thing, though. These have been out for a year. I mean, not these with the solar graph, but we did a podcast a year ago when they introduced them for the first time around. And
that's true.
I wonder how well they've sold.
But a year ago, they didn't sponsor F1.
Well, this is true.
Right.
This is true.
And so these watches are limited production too, as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we all know limited production for a lot of companies could be in the tens of thousands or thousands, and especially with all the different variations. So I'm curious. I will tell you that a lot of the high-end watch, at least where I live, Tag, Omega, we talked about this before, they're doing their own boutique stores. It seems like everybody now, we used to go into this, the fancy place here in Florida, we have Mayors. Now Mayors is like Rolex, and then some high-end Omega, Tag, Breitling, those were always in with those companies. Even IWC, the what's it called? Ulysses? Is it Ulysses something?
Nardine.
It's like and the other one that's a starts with a P. It's on the top of my head.
Sounds
Patek.
No,
Patek?
not Patek. It has the square thing that goes over the crown. Anyways, you guys, everybody on YouTube or listening on the podcast is because I do the
Screaming
same
at
thing,
us.
saying it out. Screaming it out. Anyways, they all have their own boutiques now.
Well, here in
everybody has their own
Orlando, we have
boutiques.
what we call the Fancy Mall, which is the Millennium Mall, and you go in there, and it's exactly that. You literally have, and it's cool. I dig it as a watch
we all
guy
have
because
a Fancy Mall.
Yeah, you can go everywhere. I mean, there's a Swatch store there. There's a just like you said, there's a Tag boutique. There's Rolex. So there's all these different. So Omega's got a shop in there. I mean, everyone's got their own place, and you just go kind of hop around and window shop and look at stuff.
Well, one thing that's interesting about the Tag here is that there's so many color combinations. I could definitely see like corporate partnerships or collabs, right? Going on with more corporate colors where people can recognize it, say like a FedEx colors, that type of thing.
Yeah.
So,
hey, so it's Paneria, or is that how you say it?
Panerai.
Panera. There you go.
Panera is where you go get a bagel.
Okay. Panera? Okay.
Panerai.
Yeah.
All right. So. You did a great job describing it, but I just couldn't put it together.
Watch that starts with a P. And that's what I put in my Google search too. And it was the first thing that popped up. So
I love it. Well, awesome. that was Watches and Wonders, at least the things that I thought was somewhat interesting.
The other thing I thought was pretty nice was I thought that Tudor unveiled a couple. Of course, they're going Black Bay crazy, and they came out with this maroon one, which I think that is a love it or hate it. But the Pelagos?
I like Pelagos. Pelagos are
I think
nice
that's
watches.
Sharp.
And it's gonna be interesting, with their Black Bay 68. I mean, they're getting bigger and bigger, and it's gonna be, Tudor is not necessarily Rolex anymore like it used to be, but I think they do almost like a Skunk Works. And if the 68 takes off and people start liking that size, you're going to notice a larger Rolex coming out in the next couple of years.
I don't doubt that.
Yeah.
But check out the Tudors. I thought those were pretty nice.
Yeah. And then Grand Seiko came out with a new movement, or I should say they improved on their spring drive to where literally, this is impressive, accuracy has gotten to where it's less than 20 seconds off per year.
Do any of you guys know anyone that has a Grand Seiko? Like, why don't we see too many people talking about the Grand. They're always like they've won competitions, better movement. I mean, but I've never seen anyone out of any watch collector have a Grand Seiko, and why is that?
I think because it still says Seiko in it.
Yeah, I mean, I know a couple guys that own them, and I would love to have one at some point. They're just still crazy expensive for me, but it's worth the money. I think the Grand Seiko is a watch guy's watch.
No, I disagree with you.
Really?
Because I've never seen anybody that have huge collections that have a Grand Seiko. So is this? I've
seen a few.
So have
you have?
Yeah, I have as well. Yeah.
I have. Like out in the real world, yes. Not in the not in the jewelry store, right?
Right.
Out in the real world, yes, I have.
Okay, and
they're not pop. Here's a quick story. So my boss came in, his once a year and a half visit, and he's not a watch guy, and he knows that I do this podcast, and he's like, "Oh, I got this watch," and he pulls a photo out on his phone. And it was one of those new Timexes, right? So Timex is killing it right now, going back.
The titanium version one?
Yeah. Going back into their vault, all their colors, all just really great.
And James was like, "Oh, it's so awesome. Man, that's a great watch. It's the best. I wanted to get one of those."
No, I didn't say it was a watch. I just said it looked good. And I mean, I think Timex is killing it right now.
Styling is good on them.
They've sat on their history, right? For a long time. So he had this, but he goes, "You know what? I want my next watch." And he said Grand Seiko. He didn't say Rolex. He said Grand Seiko. So there's something that he saw in the Grand Seiko that drew him in to have his second watch become a Grand Seiko. I thought that was interesting.
I think the situation with Grand Seiko is the same price point as literally an upper tier watch. I mean, it's the same price as a Rolex.
But it is one.
It is exactly. You're right. You're actually right. That was the wrong terminology for me. But my point is that a lot of people going out that have the money to buy that aren't necessarily watch people. Some are, but a lot aren't. And because it's doesn't say
it's not a
Rolex
status watch.
Or
not
Omega or whatever. Right. Yeah. So that's I think that's why
it's a watch guy. It's a watch guy's watch.
It's a watch guy's watch. It's one of those things that if you see someone wearing a Grand Seiko, like even all of us, even if we didn't know anybody that owned a Grand Seiko, we see someone wearing a Grand Seiko and we're like, I know what you got there, but we're one of 1,000 that would have no clue what someone's wearing. They're like, oh, it's a Seiko. They would have no idea.
Yeah. I know we're all Seiko fanboys, but
well, listen,
I don't see, as far as the looks go, it doesn't really appeal.
There's no style to the Grand Seikos have a very classic style, and then they just change with some movements or a hand or something like that. But you look at that, and it just reminds me of a 1950s watch,
like very minimalistic, very dress watch. Where Grand Seiko kills it again, I talked about this. In the dial game, their dials are second to none. Their dials are absolutely gorgeous. There's a depth to their dials that you can't show in photos, or when you see one in person, it's literally glistens from 50 feet away. Their dials are just absolutely stunning.
But I'm going to have to agree with Kevin as far as the personality doesn't really shine there.
No, not at all. No, I agree. Yeah, it's very minimalistic, very dress watch.
Yeah.
You don't see any kind of divers or any kind of big chunky watches out of them.
And with the amount of watches out there, not only from the big brands, but also from these micro brands, there's so many choices. People want to show their personality.
I think Grand Seiko is how I would describe it is that culture, the Japanese culture, when they are just perfecting that sushi roll or they're perfecting that one thing and it's just perfect. But it's so bland, just like the Honda Civic used to be when, when they first came out. It's just, we were at a store and my wife's like, oh, look, Grand Seiko. I'm like, and I literally was like, I'm not.
Well, I think you nailed
my nose to it.
I think you nailed it. I don't think we need to say anything more about Grand Seiko. I think you just nailed it there as far as the approach goes.
Well, tying it into everything that we talk about, the Lexus LFA was the greatest sports car that never sold. And really the original NSX, the NSX didn't really start selling until they discontinued it. So,
But it did have style. I mean, that
It did
car
have
had
style.
style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, but if you looked at the nice segue, right? We're got to get the cars in.
got it.
Right?
Got it. A
Right.
little bit.
But if you looked at what the competition was at the time,
1992.
yeah, you would say that's not the sexiest car. Yeah, it's a sports car, but
Mhm.
damn, that looks like a Honda.
I mean, I remember. So I was a kid when that car came out, and it was that and the Dodge Viper.
Mm-hmm.
Those were, and they were both in red. Those cars, though, were, yes, they did have that Honda feel.
Yeah, you had Testarossa. You know, you had killer Ferraris at that point. You had, 911 turbos,
Countach.
And then you had a 200. Hey, Ron, how much was the horsepower on the NSX in 1992 stock? I thought he would know it. This is favorite car. He doesn't even know the horsepower.
I love it.
He's gonna have to sign a release now.
Yeah, exactly. He was on the show.
We actually have one here at the shop. A friend of mine's. It's just
NSX?
sitting. Yep.
Yeah.
It's sitting.
270 horsepower with 210
270.
foot-pound. 270, 210 foot-pound of torque.
Yeah, but back then you're
No,
what?
because in 1987 I had a Carroll Shelby CSX, which was a Dodge
Omni?
Shadow.
Oh, Shadow.
Yeah, 225 horsepower.
sure.
Yeah.
Yes, but Matt, what was the 930 911 turbo
Oh.
horsepower? 280, right? So it's in line, right?
Okay.
I don't
Yeah.
I don't think back then anything over 300 was crazy supercar stuff.
Here you
right?
go, James.
261
You just had to
horsepower.
Throw the Porsche back into this.
Actually, no, sorry. Yes, it started at 256 and later got increased to 261.
Okay, so similar.
Yeah, right in the same wheelhouse.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember in 01 I bought a Lexus IS 300.
Yeah.
Had 200 horsepower. I was like, yes.
Mhm.
I crossed over into the 200 horsepower gang. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
Now we
aspired.
just laugh at that.
2001 is when I bought that Jetta with the 1.8, had 180 horsepower, and I'm like, all right, this is great.
Ripping.
I'm getting it there, man. I got a turbo.
Yeah, and it's funny because we all bought cars in 01. In 01, I bought a Type R.
Yeah.
So that was 195, I think.
Yeah,
Just
there you
under,
go.
maybe.
Yeah. I remember the coolest thing because it didn't have paddles, but it had built-in buttons like paddles on the steering wheel. So
Okay,
on the,
I got you.
right.
Yeah.
So you could shift up either right or left with your thumbs and downshift with your fingers behind the steering wheel.
On the back
It's
side.
funny
So it
because
was-
now everything has paddles. My brother has a
Everything,
Toyota
yeah.
Corolla
My
and it has
Macan.
paddles.
My Macan
Guess
has
what?
paddles.
My 2025 Dodge Durango has paddles.
Woohoo!
Like I'm going to be hooning
Really?
a Dodge Durango. Yeah. Yeah, like I'm going to
But
hoon a
no
Dodge
sport
Durango.
mode. There's no sport mode on that.
So not only that, so literally they went from the previous. So Stacy used to have a Durango that we traded in for her Hyundai, and had the rotary dial on the dash for shifting the gears, just like my Ram
Mhm.
did. Well, now they went back to actually having a gear lever, and literally you put it in drive, but then you got to pop it over left into like sport mode, like a sports car with the paddles. I'm like, who are we kidding here? It's a 300 horsepower V6, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, since we're talking about cars,
Yeah.
I would like to talk about something briefly. So, I had dinner with a friend of mine. We all know him. I'm not going to name his name, but he's really good friends with the GM of Porsche, and they are quite scared in regards to the tariffs. So, Audi is eating the tariffs, from what I've been told, up until May. Porsche saying no. I have friends that are getting RS Spider, European delivery. If the car has not made it here, it's getting 25% tariff.
Wow.
I have other friends. Connor, he has a base Cayenne hybrid. That car just got bumped up to $160,000 with the tariff if it does go through. Maybe this weekend I'll find out the logistics of the meeting from Porsche corporate, because every GM was supposed to be on a conference call in regards to this tariff.
Crazy.
I personally had people order parts from my site in large quantities, and one of them shipped out immediately because I think the tariff started tomorrow. I think it starts or something like that.
I think it's on the 4th.
The 4th, right? So he wanted it like I want it. So, not getting political, but you think I'm noticing right now the 992 Porsche prices are going up, like on a GT3.
I don't doubt that. Yeah. Here's my question to you. This is just for new cars only, this tariff, right?
Yes.
So it has to be imported in.
So Porsche's trying to get an
already,
influx. Right.
If it's here already, we don't have to. So if your car is on the lot today, you're good.
Then it's already here.
You're fine.
Yeah.
And this is only including built cars. It's not including like parts yet.
No, I don't know, because my guy, he's in Canada though.
Right.
He has a tariff and his parts. But for the cars, I was thinking just like, well, hey, why don't they just like not put a bumper on a Porsche and say that that bumper's worth, $8,000, and then they put the bumper, and now it's assembled in Florida or wherever. So what the Porsche guys are telling me, and some of the sales guys, they're worried about that. They're going to have an influx of cars where clients are, because actually this month they've had a great month, and they're worried that people are going to say, hey, this tariff may not last long, because if once you pay that money, it ain't like the tariff goes away, say in June,
they're getting
it back.
No,
right.
Not at all.
Right.
So they're waiting to see, and they're like, and I don't know about all GMs, but, and I don't know about like other companies, but at least the one that I was talking to, 50% of his pay is based on sales of cars.
No, he pays he's paid like me.
Well, here's the thing: is there any car made in America? No, right? I just saw a thing where Ford F-150 has 1,500
Mexico,
parts, right?
Yeah,
and that are made in over 100 countries.
So, Toyota has a plant in Indiana. A lot of your SUVs are still made Toyota.
Yeah, but they're not getting all the parts. We're not manufacturing the parts
but
here.
The car's not completed yet. So for the new car, it's a completed car. So yes, I understand that part because of the parts and stuff like that. And that, I don't know that question to that, but I do know completed cars. I don't know. We're going to see. I'm wondering if it's going to be happening with last year.
It's not just going to be cars. So
no, it's not.
No.
So
no. Well, I mean, there's already a 25% tariff on anything Chinese that's coming from China.
Yeah.
So
let's see what happens. These tariffs may just be for us to talk about that shit while something else goes down. So we'll see.
You never know. I mean, like I said, we're not a political podcast, but things have to improve at some point. Yeah.
On that note,
on that note, as Jeremy Clarkson said, on that bombshell, we're 55 minutes in. We got anything else, or are we just going to call it a night?
No, we're going to say good night.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, guys. Check out our website, whiskeyWatchesandWheels.com. Head over to the sponsors tab. We got a couple sponsors up there, and Instagram, all the good stuff. YouTube, obviously, like and subscribe. And if you guys have any questions or whatever, send us an email. Send us a direct message, and I'm really good at trying to answer all those or the guys. And we will catch you guys next week. All right. Oh, and next week, guys, special guest Carlos Blanco, owner of Vision Vents. Anybody out there that drives a Porsche 997 may know what Vision Vents are. If not, you're going to learn some good stuff. He'll be on the podcast next week, and looking forward to that. So we'll catch you guys later. Peace out.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.